Hi, it was just basically on how do you get people to come in at an old, I'm not saying I'm old, at a more mature level to do trade jobs or trade colleagues jobs. An idea that we were thinking about before is basically a lot of the time people can be used to a certain amount of money. They can be doing a customer care job or an administration role or any role, as in they don't want to take or they can't afford to take the pay cut to go down to be an apprentice or to do training again, is doing opportunities where they can train in their own time at evenings or something like that, but still doing the role. So basically so then you're showing that basically they really want to take the career a different step because they're willing to give up their own personal time for it. Because a lot of the time it's the money element.
Yeah.
I think they'll perceive that they've got to drop money to go and to take a different career path.
Absolutely.
And they can't afford it.
No, totally. And I think definitely from the past 12 months that we've just experienced, you've got people that are retraining, you've got people that are looking at other ways of upskilling, and but you're absolutely right, and it's about making sure you've got flexible solutions in order for people to learn and to be able to do what they want to do. And I think that sounds like a great idea. You know, if there was an opportunity, I'm not entirely sure whether colleges offer this or not. Zoe, you might be able to help me out with this, but I don't know whether they do learning in the, I know, well, they do night schools and things like that, don't they? But I don't know in terms of practical skills, but it sounds like a sensible idea.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we can have a look at, Stuart.
Yeah, no, great. Thank you for sharing that. And Michelle.
Hi. So I was just picking up the point, and I totally agree with it. I think the perception is you need a trade to be in operations. So I'm currently a contracts manager. I've been with Novus for, I think, coming on about 10 years now. So I started when we won the home group reactive contract, and I was on the planning help desk, and then became like team leader and help desk manager and moved up the ranks. I then went off on maternity leave, came back to a more operational support role. And it was like running reports and doing KPIs and generally just supporting the operations manager up here in Scotland. And it was at that time to talk when I came back from maternity leave. I was like, I don't want a back office, like I don't want an office. I would like to move into operations. Is there an opportunity? Never in a million years did I think that I would get the response say, absolutely, definitely, we could go down that route. I mean, a year and a half later, I'm now sitting here doing the contracts manager's role, and it's been a massive learning curve, a lot to learn, and I've enjoyed every second of it. But I think it's so important, especially even with the staffing that we've got who we currently have at the moment, to get it out there. You don't need a trade background to have an operational role within Novus. And like I've done my SMSTS and that it was online, but it was all men. I'd done my emergency first aid course, all men. It was all construction, it was all men. So I was the only female on 2 of the courses that I went on, and it was literally within weeks of each other, just before Christmas there. So yeah, I mean, as an industry, I definitely still think it's a male dominant, and they were all contracts managers, site supervisors, operations managers, and it was predominantly all men that was in the roles. But yeah, it was just really to say, yeah, I think to promote internally, you don't need a trade, because we could have really great people sitting in a role that would be fantastic in an operational role potentially. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Well, and thank you for sharing that, because it sounds like you've had a fantastic career in Novus. You've had lots of opportunity. So how do you think we can make that happen for more people, you know, for us to attract more women into Novus, and to share the fact that, you know, there is a journey, there is a career path, and, you know, obviously you've done incredibly well.
I think I'm very lucky. John McCluskey, who's my operations manager, was very open to the idea, and I think it got brought up at my time to talk when I had just came back from maternity leave, in his previous company, he had female contracts managers, so he was very open to the idea for the start. And I think it's maybe even just at that point, reaching out to our management team, letting them know, like opening up that idea, giving them examples, roles that could be. And I'm thinking people who are already here internally, because we've got such talented people that maybe we just don't think about them filling a role that we maybe potentially have.
Right.
I wouldn't like to think we had a missed opportunity. There's people with Novus who's long service, a bit like myself. I mean, it's a long time to be with a company, and yeah, I've done loads of roles, I learned loads along the way, and I know loads of people who've been here for years and years who could be given that opportunity. I know up in Scotland we've had people who've been on the help desk, and at their time to talks again, or just general conversations, maybe thought, oh, I want to try something new, and people have moved to our financial, our QS department, and are thriving there. And yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity.
And it's really about growing your own, isn't it? You know, when you've got that talent in the business, how can we really grow our own talent and make the most of it? So no, really, thank you for sharing that. That's really useful. And Sophie.
Yeah, I've been listening to what you guys have been saying, and I've like frantically been writing like loads of notes because I think there's some amazing stuff that's coming out of today, which is great. But I've just got 3 points that I would really like to raise. The first one being that I think, going back to your point around schools and educational environments, I think there is still, frustratingly, and it's something that I'm working with CITB on. There is still a lack of knowledge within schools in terms of what job opportunities are available within construction. To run a construction company, you cannot have a whole load of bricklayers and painters. Your business will fail. You need IT experts, you need accountants, you need marketers, you need business developers, you need people experts, you need quantity surveyors, you need commercial managers, you need a really high level of project management skills. You need to be able to understand contracts and law. That it's so diverse, construction, and I think that's one of the key things that needs to be addressed, because you don't, as we've just described here as well today, is you don't just need trades to work in construction, and to also develop in construction as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing as well is, I think what would be really interesting for Novus is to, and I hate using this term, but I'm going to use it. I think it's so overused, but is for Novus to really understand what transferable skills can be utilised to go from non-operational to operational, and really understand what the pros and the cons are of coming from trade and developing in that traditional route, because there are plenty of pros going that way, which we all understand, but it'd be really interesting to explore what actually the cons are around that as well, and whether we can start exploring other routes into operations, and what those skills might be, and actually what the pros and the cons are there as well. And it might just develop that there's a better way to become a site supervisor, for example.